So today I have to knock out a lot of early season seeding, and to do that I'm going to be using these Winstrip trays, and for this particular round of seeding I'm going to use a bunch of 128s, and I'm going to tell you why. So while I'm seeding this tray of lettuce here, let's talk some numbers. Now, numbers are not the most glamorous part of growing or farming, right? Everyone wants to see the beautiful vegetables and see the beautiful flowers and learn the technical know-how, but numbers, they're truly an important aspect of farming when you're thinking about farming as a business. All the beds on our farm are 30 inches wide and 50 feet long. There's a couple reasons for that. One, all the market farming tools that we use are kind of standardized and created to be used on that 30-inch bed. And two, it really makes planning and calculating costs much more efficient when everything is the same. Now, we transplant lettuce in two different ways on this farm. If we're growing big head lettuces, we tend to transplant into 3 rows per bed. And if we're creating smaller heads for cut lettuce and our salad mixes, we transplant into 4 rows per bed. So let's start with head lettuce. Because we have standardized beds, we know that when we have 3 rows, we need 300 seedlings in order to fill that bed. Now, in order to complete that, we can seed 3 128s with a total of 384 transplants, or we can seed 5 72s with a total of 360 transplants. If we're seeding in 4 rows, we know that we need 400 transplants. To get that, we're going to seed either 4 128s, which is 512 transplants, or we can seed 6 72s, which is 432 transplants. The lettuce seed that we use on the farm is all pelleted. Now, this seed ranges in price from 2 cents to 5 cents per seed. And for the sake of this video, we're just going to say that each one of our seeds costs us 5 cents. Now, going back to that efficiency point I made earlier, using pelleted seed really is a time saver. It makes seeding very, very quick and efficient. So if you're going to be seeding it to trays, I highly recommend getting pelleted seed. Now, soil and seedling mixes varies in price, especially when you're talking about quantity and quality of this stuff. For the sake of this video, we'll say that I'm using a 1-yard sling, and that 1-yard sling cost me about $300. And if you can't buy a 1-yard sling and you're needing to purchase individual bags, just know that 20 40-quart bags is about the same as 1 yard. Now, a 1-yard sling can fill 197 72 trays, and it can also fill 243 128 trays. Now, the cost to fill these trays are $1.52 per 72 tray, or $1.24 per 128 tray. When you add the seed to those individual trays, for a 72 tray, it costs $5.12 to get that tray seeded, and $7.64 to get a 128 seeded. Labor is probably the most overlooked aspect of calculating the price it is to seed a tray. That's unfortunate because we really want to pay ourselves, and we really need to value our time because that is a finite commodity and we only have so much of it. We really want to spend it where, in a business context at least, we're making the most money. So using the right tools for the job really aids in making this process as quick and efficient as possible. So using the Dibble tray here really makes a big difference. And when we're talking lettuce here, we can seed this tray start to finish in about 4 minutes. And at $20 an hour, that 4 minutes equates to roughly $1.32. So that's how we're going to calculate our labor here. Now, when you add labor into this combination, you're looking at $8.96 to seed a 128 and $6.44 to seed a 72. Now, when you take this cost of seeding a tray, and that's the tray, the soil, the seed, and the labor, and you multiply it out by the number of trays that you need per bed, that's kind of how you start to figure out what the total cost is to seed a bed. So if we're doing 3 rows, so we're seeding head lettuce here, if we're using 128s, that's going to cost us $27.87 to fill that bed. If we're using 72s, it's going to cost us $33.85. Now, if we're doing rows of 4 with those smaller heads for our salad mixes, it's going to cost us $37.16 for 128s and $40.62 for 72s.